right now, today, December 1st, we are grading our homework, and this is located on page 125. And this is my Math 7 class. We're making this recording during third period. So here are the answers to 1 and 2. As I said earlier, you'll get points for 3 different things on your quiz, which you'll take on Friday. That's a point, and a point. So the answer is only worth 1 point. The proportion's a point, and the work is a point. Now let's go to number 3. 9 is 12% of which number? So 9 is your part. We don't know the whole. 12 is our percent. You put it over 100. Cross products. 12 times W equals 9 times 100, which is 900. Sometimes it's just easier to write that, isn't it? Then you have to show divide by 12, divide by 12, and 900 divided by 12 is 75. Any questions on that? Everyone knows what I expect on the quiz? Good. 12%, so 12 goes over 100, of 72 is what number? 12% of 72, that's your whole, that's the whole amount. And the answer is going to be the part. We want to know what the what part 12% is. So 72 goes on the bottom. We don't know our part. Now you have P times 100 equals 12 times 72. Then divide both sides by 100, and yes, you have to show that. And you end up with 8.6. It says round to the nearest tenth. So P equals 8.6. On the quiz, it's also going to say round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So make sure you practice rounding to the tenths. That's what the quiz says. Number 5. What percent of 50 is 18? So I have 18 over 50 equals n over 100. Well, kids, you could do equivalent proportions here, couldn't you? Just multiply them both by 2. This is 1. You say, oh, 50 times 2 is 100. 18 times 2 is what? 36? 36%. So if it's a real easy one like this, you don't have to show the cross product, okay? All right, 12 is 90% of what number? 12 is the part. 12 over the whole equals 90 over 100. So you have 90 times W equals 1,200. Divide them both by 90. And W equals 13.3. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions on this? There will be 4 problems that you have to do on the quiz like this. Yes?
Are we allowed to use our calculator?
Yes. As long as you show everything like I have up here, you can use a calculator. Number 7. A pair of sneakers is on sale as shown. This is 75% off the original price. That's the whole or the total. What was the original price of the shoes? Okay. So you're going to put 51 over the whole equals 75 over 100. So you have 75 times W equals, then divide both sides by 75. And 5,100 divided by 75 is what? $68? Is that what you get?
Yeah.
All right. The whole equals $68. Yep, it's got to be more than 51, so it makes sense it could be that. Okay. Number 8. Of the 60 books on the bookshelf, 24 are nonfiction. What percent? Well, 24 is the part over 60 equals n over 100. So you're going to have 60 times n equals 2,400. Divide them both by 60, and we end up with n equals 40, which is 40%. They want a percent 40%. Any questions? Number 9. Round to the nearest hundredth this time. 40 is 50% of what number? Well, that one's really pretty simple. 40 over W equals 50 over 100. So you get 4,000 equals 50W, divide by 50. Most of you could have done this one. The answer is going to be, what, 80? Yes. 80. Yeah. Okay. Now, in number 10, 12.5% of what number is 24? So 24 is your part. What number is your whole? 12.5 goes over 100. So you're going to have 12.5 times W equals 24 times 100. Divide both sides by 12 and 5/10. And then you're going to get the answer of 192. Is that what you have? Yes. Okay, 192 equals the whole. What percent of 300 is 6/10? Ooh, that's a teeny tiny amount. Okay, so you'll have 300 times n equals 0.6 times 100. Then divide them both by 300. You'll have a calculator, and n will equal 0.2%. 0.2%. Now, what number is 5%, 0.5% of 8? Okay, so this is your part. Part over 8 equals 0.5 over 100. 8 times 0.5 equals P times 100. Divide both sides by 100, and the answer that you will get for that is 0.04. The part is 0.04. It's just a tiny amount, isn't it? Any questions on how to do the proportion? All right. Then we are going to do our next one, which is the equation. All right, now we are ready for Chapter 2, Lesson 4, the percent equation. The percent equation. Vocabulary startup. It says, let me make this just a little smaller up there, a little bigger. Okay, you have used a percent proportion to find the missing part, P, percent N, or whole W. You can also use a percent equation. I think most of you will like doing the equation better than the proportion. Maybe not, though. The percent equation is part equals percent times whole. Okay? It says, label the diagram that shows the relationship between the percent proportion and the percent equation with the terms part, whole, and percent. Use each term once. Well, on this, your part divided by whole is going to give you, what are you going to write on that blank? Percent, yes. And part over whole times whole equals the percent times the whole. And the part equals percent times whole. Okay. Now let's just, I have to tell you a little story. This is a pink-toed tarantula, and I used to have one as a classroom pet. I bought it from a lady that lived off of German Church Road Road in Warren Township. She had a walk-in closet that was full of containers that had tarantulas. She had all kinds of tarantulas. But when I taught 5th grade at Adams, it was when Adams was a brand new school, we had this pink-toed tarantula. She was big, and she was the size of my hand. We named her Nemi because we were doing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with Captain Nemo, and we thought she was a girl. We really had no idea, but we just liked the name Nemi. So we had Nemi. And then when they come out of their shell, they molt. You know how you see like those cicada bugs? Well, tarantulas molt too. And it looks like you have 2 tarantulas in my little cage. I didn't let the kids carry it. They couldn't get it out of the cage because I did have some kids that were really scared of spiders, and I didn't want them to be affected by pulling this tarantula out. But it was beautiful, and its fur was soft. So anyway, so when it molts, when the tarantula molts, each leg has to come out. So the back part, this part right here, pops up. And then each leg carefully has to come out of each thing. And it takes like the whole day. Well, when it does that, the class has to be very quiet because it's ultra sensitive to vibrations. So any noise causes it great distress. So whenever the tarantula would molt, which was like once a year, sometimes twice, my class knew we had to be very quiet the whole day. So, and then the cool thing, after it molted, the kids could all hold the tarantula that doesn't have the tarantula in it. It's just the tarantula skin, but it looks just like a real tarantula. So I kept the tarantula skin probably 15 years before it finally fell apart. I had a couple different ones. So the kids loved, they would carry the tarantula skin, and it looked like they were carrying a tarantula. People that would come in my room didn't know what was going on. But it was so soft. We would just sort of pet it. It's very soft fur on tarantula. It's not coarse. Yes?
Can we get one?
No, we're not allowed to have pets in the school. And I'll be honest, I didn't like feeding the crickets were gross. I had to keep crickets in it. And, oh, the other thing, it was fun to watch it. Those are its fangs right here. So when we put a cricket in, so the kids wouldn't pay attention because they would wait for the cricket. They're listening to my story. They would wait for the cricket to hop around, and you never knew when. That would pounce on the cricket. It would take its fangs and suck them into the cricket. This is disgusting. It sucks all the juice out of the cricket. So it sucks all of the, crickets don't really have blood. They have fluids. It sucks the fluids out. And then, after it sucks all the fluid out, it puts the rest of it in its mouth. So we had a big, I didn't know that that's how the tarantulas did it. I learned a lot from Nemi the tarantula. But then, after a couple years, Nemi, she didn't survive molting. She died when she was coming out of her shell. That took so long, and I think we tried to be really quiet, but she just didn't make it, so she died one time when she was molting.
Wait,
yeah.
You really can't handle tarantulas because if they fought and made some natural hides, it would die. The insides on like the little abdomen, that's where
Yes.
It would probably rupture.
Well, I was just always I'd let her walk onto my hand when I would carry, but I never carried her in the classroom. I would not do that. Okay, now that you know the story about the pink, oh, and the other thing, when they're born, all of their body is pink and their feet are black. So as it grows up, its body turns black and its feet are pink. But it's a really cool looking, and it's a beautiful tarantula. Yes?
When are we allowed to have pets?
That's something we'll talk about another time, but that's not anything I have control of. Okay, let's go to the next page. Nathan?
You show us a video of like...
A tarantula molting?
No, a tarantula eating a grasshopper.
No, it's not a grasshopper, they're crickets. Okay. Here we go. Refocus, now we have to go back to mathematics. Okay. Find the percent. 3 is what percent of 6? Okay, kids, this is the easy way to do it. Is means equals. When you see the word is, you put an equal sign. 3 is what percent? So I'm going to have n percent of means times 6. Okay? 3 equals n times 6. And then you have to change your decimal to a percent. We'll talk about that later. Then we have find the part. What number, that's our mystery, it's your variable, n, is means equals 50% of means times 6. Change your percent to a decimal. What's 50% as a decimal? 0.5 of means times 6. You just might put it like that. Put the parentheses instead of a dot. We're dealing with decimal points. It gets messy then. Okay, see how easy the equation is? Now, find the whole. 3 is means equals 50%, change it to a decimal, 0.5 of means times W. And you all know to solve for W, divide both sides by 0.5, right? What you need to remember, change your percents to decimals. The only time you change it back to a percent is when the question says, what percent, or find the percent. Then after you have a decimal, you'll change it back to a percent. Okay, let's go now and do number 1. I want you to write it like I do. It's so much easier. What number, n, equals 0.2 times 150? Okay, you can use a calculator. And you'll get n equals, there's no step to show except multiply them, and you get what? 18. It wants a number, not a percent. That's a number. See how easy the percent equation is? Okay, I want you do A, B, C, and D. They don't give you room for A and B, so show your work for A and B up here. And then you can show your work for C and D below it. All right, go ahead and do that. Okay, so for letter A, it was 12. There's your equation. Answer is 12. For letter B, your equation, your answer. Now let's look at C and D. What is our variable? N equals 0.14 times 150. Well, 0.14 times 150 is 21. And 50% of 7, well, 50% you just divide it by 2, right? What's the answer for that one? 35. It does say to write an equation, so we have to do that. N equals 0.5 times 70, and that is 35. Okay. Any questions? Pretty simple. Let's go to the next page. 21 is what percent of 40? Well, 21 means equals n percent, that's an n, times 40. So, to get n percent, first you divide both sides by 40. 21 divided by 40 is 0.525. Equals n percent. Now, I have to change the decimal to a percent. You move it 2 places to the right, so 52.5% equals n. Do you see how I changed my decimal to a percent? But when you're going from a decimal to a percent, it's 2 to the right. Like 1 whole is 100%. Okay, if you get confused, just think 1 whole is 100%. Okay, go ahead and do E and F right now. All right, so I have my equation. M percent of means times 40 is means equals 9. So to get the answer, I divide them both by 40. N percent will equal 0.225. Which when I change it to a percent, n equals 22.5%. Everyone get 22.5%?
Yes.
Good. In this one, I divide both sides by 150. (1800ths) equals n percent. Now I have to change 1800s to a percent. 18% equals M. Move it 2 places to the right, and that's 18%. And this one was 22.5%. Any questions? Our third type here, 13 means equals, change 26% to a decimal of what number? N. Just divide both sides by 2600ths. 13 divided by 0.26 gives you 50. So 50 equals N. And it wanted a number. 50 is a number. Any questions? Go ahead and do G and H now. It says round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Write on the book, honey. Don't write on the desk. Are you doing it on the... Okay. So, divided by 0.84. It says what to round to the nearest tenth. So 46, it'll be 46.4. Just use your Chromebook. So for G, 46.4 equals N. Any questions on that? And on this one, divide both sides by 2600ths, and 45 divided by 0.26 will be 173.1 when I round it to the tenths place. Is that what the book has? Yeah. Any questions on doing these? Okay, so now let's look at a word problem situation, and then I'll tell you what you're going to do for homework. Okay, in number 4, it says, a survey found that 25% of the people aged 18 to 24 gave up their home phone and only use a cell phone. I think it's more than 25% now. Very few people have a home phone. Almost everyone has cell phones. If 3,264 people only use a cell phone, how many people were surveyed? That's your whole. The survey is the whole. So 3,624 equals 25% of the whole, right? So that's what they have. 3,264 equals 25% times W. The whole. They change their percent to a decimal. Divide both sides by 2500ths, and the whole number will be 13,056. Yes. I'll tell you in a little bit. This class is your long class. All right, now kids, go ahead and do the guided practice. I'll give you the answers for those in a little bit. And if you get done with the guided practice, go ahead and do page 133, and then I'll tell you what else we'll do on page 133 after the guided practice. Okay, homework assignment, page 133, all 1 to 9. The answers to the guided practice are right here. So you should have your equation, MP equals 264, your equation, 20%, your equation, and W equals 25. The answer to number 4 is 39 loaves. Have a good day.